Welcome to the Powered by Football podcast, your favorite powerchair football podcast that is hosted by Jaxon Taylor. Today, I'm joined by a good mate of mine who I thought would be fun to bring on. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Daniel O'Brien. I'm 15 years old and I play for Sydney FC.
I thought it'd be good to bring Daniel on because with our most recent longer interview with Ben Key, I brought Daniel on because our sport has people of various ages, and Ben Key, who we had on for the rules, showed our more experienced players of older ages, whilst Daniel, while still being very experienced, is 15, and I wanted to show that our sport has a lot of experience at all ages. So that's why I got you on, Daniel. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what is your history with powerchair football?
I started out at 6 years old back in the Kevin Betts Stadium days. Kevin Betts Stadium's down in Mount Druitt, it's where we played before we moved to Valentine Sports Park. When I
Mm.
was there in the last year that we played for them, I was invited to join the Wanderers, which is your team now.
Yes, the best team in the comp. Thank you very much. We are the best.
Uh, The bad guys.
Oh,
Bad guys.
you can call us that, but we are the best team. Support the Wanderers if you don't have a team. Continue me on.
While I was there, I played in the reserve grade for 2 or 3 years. And then after a few years there, I moved up to playing in the first grade team every now and again. 4 years ago, I joined the Sydney FC team, and I now play there for Div 1.
Trader. Thank you for that information, Daniel. I'm really displeased to hear that you left Wanderers, which I was not a fan of.
You've expressed that plenty of times.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What I do want to ask you though is, what is your favorite memory within powerchair football?
Back when we were still in Kevin Betts Stadium, a lot of us younger players who weren't that experienced with the sport usually played in our day chair, which is the wheelchair that we use every day around the house and everything. Problem with these chairs, they are slower at turning. They're also more fragile. While we were playing in these, my mum noticed that we couldn't quite play in them properly, so she put together a grant from Holden to get us some proper sports chairs.
I wanted to note on the impact that this had. This basically allowed for players who wanted to grow in this sport to be able to, because the only people who had talent were the ones who had their own chairs, and it was a challenge, and it still is, to get your own sports chair. So by getting this grant, thanks to Daniel's mum, we were able to grow the sport and get so many more younger players to grow exponentially.
This, to extend on that, my mum got a few parents, including your mum, to talk about the impact that playing in a day chair has on a player's ability.
This is Jackson from the future to let you know that Daniel got a bit of the information about the video wrong. It only features one mother and it is not mine. It is a mate of ours, Mitch's mum, Rachel. Still go check the video out. Still really cool, really short and sweet, really powerful. But yeah, letting you know that he was wrong. Back to the show.
And this was enough for Holden to sympathize with us. And we ended up getting 8 power sports chairs.
Yeah, the sympathy vote always works. It's a critical part to ensuring your success as a person with a disability. And I will link this video in the description of this episode, so go check it out. It's a really cool video.
A bit old photography, but let's look past that.
Oh, look, that's just it's a product of its time. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, Daniel, is that powerchair football isn't the only sport you're experienced in. You've also spent many years playing powerchair hockey. My question for you is, which is the better sport? Just a reminder, there is a correct answer.
Is there, though? That
Yes,
is answering a question with a question.
there is a correct
I'll
sport.
give you I'll give you a bit of an analogy. Try picking your favorite child. You have one.
I do.
Not you specifically, the audience.
Continuing on.
Getting a little bit more personal, I know you're a very big 21 Pilots fan. So try picking your favorite 21 Pilots song.
Okay, point taken. However, I do not want to go on a tangent about their discography as much as I would love to. But what I will say to you is that this podcast is the Powered by Football podcast, not the Powered by Hockey podcast. So I would suggest if you want to win the audience over, there is a answer that would be very much correct in this conversation.
I appreciate what you say, and Powered by Football does roll off the tongue better. But other than that, no comment.
Okay, very well then.
I do have a favorite, and I'm pretty sure you can easily guess which one that is.
Well, last time I checked, you haven't featured on any powerchair hockey podcasts.
That's true. That is true.
We got him. We got him, guys. Sorry. Whilst this podcast does focus on powerchair football, I did want to continue with this sort of discussion of powerchair hockey as it has had a strong impact on your life. You did feature for Australia at the World Cup in Switzerland a couple of years back. Firstly, how was that?
Switzerland really, really changed basically all aspects of my life, including schoolwork. That was a lot to catch up on after that. Other than that, it really changed my perspective of where disabled sports can go and how skilled one person can become with
Y-
powerchair hockey.
Yeah, right. So, who is your sort of, how did you get inspired by these players? Like, what, was there a certain player that you drew to, or was it just the sport as a collective?
Sport over there is played very, very, very differently to how it is played here, and honestly, it's quite daunting when you go over there and see these massive 6 foot European blokes with massive shoulders and incredible ball skills. When I first got there, I really felt quite hopeless, especially watching Alexander Pedersen. He currently lives here in Australia, but
Mm.
still plays for Denmark. He was really the one that caught everybody's eye with his ball control. With this feeling of hopelessness, there was no chance of us doing anything, but I got a message from Chris Suffield, who you would have heard in a recent episode. Chris is an incredible writer, an incredible motivator, and this really just helped me get my mindset back on track.
I wanted to very briefly touch back on something you said before, talking about, seeing these 6 foot European men with good ball control skills. I just wanted to say that that sounds like a good night to me, to be honest.
My headphones fell off.
So the last thing I wanted to ask you about your time in powerchair hockey and going to Switzerland is, what is the best chocolate you had in Switzerland?
I do not have any recollection of brand names over there, but specifically, the Swiss had this one chocolate that would pretty much be what our Cadbury would be like, but the Swiss perfection. It was this hazelnut absolute beauty that cost about $2 to get, and yeah.
Hey, this is Jackson from the future to tell you that the chocolate that Daniel was thinking of was called Ragusa. Back to the show. Okay, that's the most important question about the whole competition, I think. Like hockey's not that important compared to chocolate, in my opinion.
How long has it been since you played?
5 years probably.
Exactly my point.
Going back to powerchair football now, and I want to talk about your growth. You fought hard to emerge as a key player for Sydney FC's Premier League side, despite being so young. In your opinion, Daniel, what was the most fundamental factor that got you where you are now?
There's many, many, many factors that really helped me along the way. Firstly, the incredible people that asked me to come along. Specifically, Jason Ryan, who asked me first to come along to the team and has really, really helped me with training and becoming the player that I am now. But not only that, it's also playing with people my own age. Sydney
Hmm.
FC, before Chris Suffield came along in this season, was a predominantly younger team. And while this did create some problems on the field with experience, it's really been one hell of a treat to play with people who are at my same skill level, and we'll grow together.
Yeah, so I think, the one benefit of Sydney FC, despite hating them with every fiber of my body, is that I do respect the ideal of playing with people your own age and having that shared hunger and motivation to grow and being so young, they all have so much potential to grow. And I think it will be interesting to see how much they improve over the years because there's so many kids who have so much potential, and I think that potential will be amazing for the competition. Like it's not at the end of the day, we all want to see the competition grow, not just each individual club.
Just to expand on that, while we might not be the greatest match for all teams currently, we don't grow as individuals in Sydney. We grow together and we learn together and we train together and we do everything together. We go and hate on Wanderers together.
Yeah, but like that's like a boring thing because like there's nothing to hate about us. We're perfect, we're awesome.
At least we don't throw flares.
That's the culture of the club.
I'd call it toxicity.
I would say that it shows the passion of Western Sydney.
You were one nil down. 1-0 down.
I don't know, I didn't do it. I can't tell you why they did.
I'm just gonna say one more thing.
Yeah.
So you do have a very unfair advantage. You're all very, very tall, and we're all very, very short.
Thanks. Okay, so still on that note of your growth and stuff, Daniel, obviously with growing so much, you're playing in games with a lot higher stakes. How do you deal with the pressure to perform in big matches, both with Australia in hockey and with Sydney in powerchair football?
I guess the best example of this is going back to Switzerland and the absolute incredible or intense pressure that I feel we all felt there, except for the teams versing us, if you look at the scores. Really, the pressure was helped then, and still is, by my parents. They really help me and support me. They know with things and my tendency to overreact to some things. So I really feel like they just know me inside out in that respect.
What would be the sort of method that they use to kind of make sure that you aren't overwhelmed by the pressure?
In Switzerland with Dad and I, it was music. Really helped calm me. It's weird. I feel pressure more the night before the game than I do during the actual game, and I guess that is because I've relieved the pressure during that night so that I can go into the game and just be in the game and have nothing else. So really, if I deal with that pressure early, and we deal with that pressure early, and I guess just kind of sway me with logic more than anything.
You briefly touched on using music to calm you down. Firstly, what song would you use to help calm yourself down the night before a match?
I am a very big old soul when it comes to music. I guess my main song is Mayonnaise by the Smashing Pumpkins. It really helps me I guess, the intro's calm, the middle's chaotic, and then the outro's calm. So it really it takes me through everything that I'm feeling and I feel it along with the music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, see, that's perfect because that's also how I would describe you, Daniel. Just chaos in the middle.
I love our banter.
I try. So, following up on that talk about calming yourself down, if you wanted to hype yourself up before a match, what song would you play for that?
There's one band that, if you don't know them, I probably don't know you. They're Foo Fighters. Pretender. It's got very depressing lyrics, but I don't listen to music for lyrics. I listen to music for music. If I did listen to music for lyrics, I'd probably be in a mental asylum by now.
We can vibe in the asylum together. Daniel, one of the things that creates strength within this sport is its community. How do you feel the community has supported you throughout your growth?
The community's really, really helped me in almost every aspect of the sport. A very, very large factor of why I enjoy this sport so much is because of the community and people like myself, and being able to realize that people can be strong even with a disability.
That was really nice. I like
That
that. So, Daniel, in your opinion, what is the best part of powerchair football?
Again, I'm going to go back to the community. Like I've said before, it really is one of the best parts of the sport.
So, on the note of the community, how do you think that this community helps grow players who are just starting now? How do you think being in that sort of welcoming group of people helps people grow?
Community itself really is the one growing. With each person that we induct, it helps them realize the capabilities of disability.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really good community, and I think that this podcast is in part just to show how strong so many different people are within this community and how amazing everyone is.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
So we're very close to the end now, Daniel. I'm very sorry, but this interview does have to end at some point. And one of the questions I'm asking in every interview is I want you to make a prediction for either yourself or for Sydney FC as a whole. Yeah, what's your prediction?
I really hope that this time, in this season, we'll be able to push ourselves a lot further than we've previously done and grow 10 times more than we've ever done before. So if we're going a prediction on placement, I'm going to have to go third.
All
Hopefully.
right, third place. I will mark that down, and at the end of the season, we will see how wrong you were when you guys get fifth.
Oh, sure. You'll
Well,
you'll eat your words.
you can't expect to come on this podcast without catching a bit of flack.
Okay, okay.
Well, Daniel, it's been absolutely amazing having you on here. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we end the podcast?
Really, just to anyone out there that's listening right now, if this is the first time you've really heard of Armchair Football, and really it is a great way to listen to it. I mean, you get to listen to me and unfortunately Jackson, but really, just come down and have a go, check us out. Yeah, just come down and have a go. Really, we're welcoming to anyone. We've started up last season, we started up a new program called the SAP program for new players of all ages. The SAP program stands for Skills Acquisition Program. We're really just a small program started by Jason Ryan and Jason Boland to try to encourage new players. Even if you aren't in a wheelchair yourself, just come down. It's a really fun sport to watch and really fun sport to play as well.
Perfect. Well, Daniel, it's been an absolute blast to have you on the podcast. Is there anything
You
you want
too.
to? It's my podcast. Is there is there anything you want to plug, or do you want to spread a message or anything before we end the podcast?
Hello to any drummers out there. I'm a fellow drummer. That's all I'll say.
Okay, Daniel is a failing drummer. That's a great way to end the podcast.
Hello. Fellow drummer. Fellow.
Failing. Failing.
Fellow. Felllow.
Okay, sure. Well, Daniel, in all seriousness, it's been absolutely amazing to have you on. Good luck for all the games you play that aren't against the Wanderers. Have a good one, mate. And to the
You-
audience, have a great day.
Thanks for having me on.
You can get involved in powerchair football here in New South Wales as an athlete, coach, referee, or volunteer by visiting the NSW PFA website linked below. Our season takes place in Glenwood at the Valentine Sports Park from the 24th of February 2024 to the 6th of July 2024 every Saturday. Contact info@nswpfa.org.au for more information. Just a quick note that the views of this podcast are mine and mine alone. The opinions and thoughts expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the NSW PFA. If you want to get in touch with the podcast, you can follow us at Powered by Football Pod on Instagram, join our Facebook group, Powered by Football Podcast, or follow our Twitter account, Powered by Pod. Thanks for listening.